Hey guys, it's Kevin Smart for Pretty Little Liars, Season 6, Episode 6, No Stone Unturned, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode. I'm still pretty pissed that we had to wait a week for this episode. Like, what? Why did they take a break? That doesn't make sense. I don't know why they took, like, a 1 week break. It didn't make sense. Especially when there are only 10 episodes for this half of the season. Yeah, you heard me. There's only 10 episodes this year. They're not doing 12. Yeah, there's only 10. Um, This episode was still really good. Wasn't the best. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was like the best episode of the season. I do have some problems with it that I am going to get into. I still really enjoy it. I still thought this was a really great episode, but I did have some things that I wasn't exactly happy about. One being, I thought this episode was a little bit boring. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't as into it as I was with the other episodes. It wasn't bad. It was a little bit slow and boring, and I don't know. I feel like they need to pick up the pace a little bit. Like, I understand, like, we want to draw out this Charles plot, but it's kind of getting a little bit boring and dry, and hopefully next week things get a lot more interesting. And I think it will after the plot twist we find out, but let's just get into it. There's a lot to discuss. And we start off with Spencer at Emily's house, and I really love this beginning here because she basically is filling in on her theory that Mona's friend is Leslie Stone. And if you remember, her theory was that Mona and Leslie both went to Radley. And she explains that Leslie and Mona were together in Radley, and Leslie was Bethany Young's roommate at Radley, and she's trying to get revenge on the liars because they think that she killed, because they think that she killed Bethany. So honestly, it all really does make sense, of course, because, they think that she's the one that killed Bethany, so she's getting revenge on them because they're the ones that said it, and that makes perfect sense. I honestly agree with that theory that Spencer has. Emily thinks that they're being a little bit overzealous and says she has to go to her therapy appointment, and Hannah and Spencer are planning to catch Leslie in the act, and basically they want to prove that this theory is true, and basically on her way to therapy, she passes Allie's house, who, let me just say, Allie is not in this episode at all. That was one problem right away. Why the fuck was Allie not in this episode? Allie's just, like, gone away. He demands to know if Emily saw someone put a note on his car, and he's freaking out and everything. And there's no explanation as to where Allie is. She's not in this episode, and I don't know why Allie's not here, but she wasn't, and it was kind of weird not having Allie in this episode. That's one of my complaints. So Hannah tells Ashley and Caleb that she's going to Philly, and she lies and says that Spencer has an appointment, which she doesn't, and Caleb wants to drive her, but Hannah rushes out and says she and Spencer will be fine. And, like, come on, Caleb, can you not get the clues that Hannah's basically just trying to say, leave me the fuck alone? Like, basically, that was Hannah's way of saying, leave me the fuck alone, I can handle this myself, I know that you want to be protective, but for 5 seconds, can you leave me alone? And she really needs to have that talk with him. She's not, and she needs to. So Caleb basically wanted, basically at Emily's house, Sarah's getting ready for her first day at work. Now, my biggest problem with this episode was by far Sarah and Emily's plot, and it's not really till the ending. I will get into that. But basically, she's getting ready for her first day at work with Caleb, and Emily puts ointment on her new tattoo for her, wishes her luck after she helps her pick out her outfit, and that's how that goes. So at this point, I was really getting like a sisterly vibe between the two, and I really do like them as, friends and sort of like sisters. I really do like that. So that kind of, my complaint comes at the end of this episode. So Spencer's getting ready to leave for Philadelphia. There's a knock on her door, and it's Dean, who I really like Dean. I think he's a really nice guy, and I like what he says to Spencer. He says he just stopped to drop off a book for Spencer. His sponsor gave it to him years ago, and he asked Spencer how she has been sleeping since she quit taking drugs, and she confesses that it's not going well. She hasn't quit. She's quit, and that's not going to last. I'm going to tell you this right now. That's not going to last. There's no way that she's going to stop taking drugs. And Spencer explains her valedictorian predicament, and she has incompletes in every class and doesn't even think that she deserves it. She only feels like she's doing this because parents and the principal are pushing her to make this speech so they can tell them about her experience and everything she's been through. And Dean thinks that she should put her foot down and tell them no. And I kind of agree with Dean. Honestly, I do. I think what he's saying I do like, and I think that was really interesting. So, meanwhile, Caleb's office, he's going over some stuff with Sarah, And Sara wants to talk about Allie, though. That's what she's concerned about. She wants to know if Allie knows who A is, and Caleb explains that he knows just as much as she does, and the liars don't let him in. So, basically, Allie and Caleb, they both know a lot of stuff, but the liars don't want to let them in. Why that is, I don't know, but I thought that was funny. We then meet this girl named Nicole. She stops by the coffee shop, and she tells Ezra that she's looking for Emily. They met on the Habitat for Humanity trip, and in Philadelphia, Hannah convinces a valet driver to get her to the keys to Leslie's car. She and Spencer steal her car so they can go through it and look for clues just to see if there's anything they can find about their theory, because they still are very much, thinking that their theory... Sorry, guys, gotta charge my computer. They very much think that their theory is the correct theory, that they are correct when they say that Leslie is, the one that, is plotting against the liars, and they still feel like that's what's going on. So, while they're investigating, they find a set of wire cutters and, 10 pairs of fake glasses. And, that's not suspicious at all. That's extremely suspicious. And they pop the hood, find 4 animal cages, and Spencer reads the boxes and realizes that they're big enough to fit the liars inside of them. So that's insane when we saw that she just saw that they're big enough to fit them inside them. I mean, that was pretty fucking insane, I have to say. So Arya runs into Clark at the junkyard where she got pictures of A's shadow. She lies and tells Clark that she's looking for her tripod. While she's snooping around, they find a doll that looks just like her with a pink streak in its hair and a knife stabbed through its head. And, I mean, that was pretty insane when we saw that. Really, that was. So, Emily meets with Nicole at the coffee shop. Nicole explains that they're taking another Habitat Humanity trip, this time to Thailand, and Emily makes excuses and explains that she has a lot going on, and Nicole convinced her to come along. Emily asks if she can bring Sara with her, because she feels like Sara, I thought, here's why I thought Emily did this, because she thought, Sara really, again, if you remember, Sara wants to basically just have the time of her life and live her life and learn how to do things again, and I think this would be the perfect thing for Sara, going on this trip, and probably be the best thing for her, and I like that Emily said that. So Spencer heads to Caleb's office, but he's out. She waits awkwardly for him with Sara. She waits awkwardly for Sara to come back, and Spencer's mom keeps blowing up her phone, and she explains her predicament to Sara about graduation. Sara thinks that she should give the speech and explain to everyone what it was like being kidnapped and everything that Spencer has gone through. And I do get that from Sara, but the thing is, that's the only reason why they want Spencer to give the speech, because just to say everything that she's been through. And here's the thing, Spencer just wants to move on. You can tell at this point, they want to move on from what happened to them, and all that's going to do is put those bad memories into her head, and she doesn't want that anymore. That's why she was taking those drugs, and obviously Sara doesn't realize this, but that's why it's not a good thing for Spencer to continue doing that. So Ezra shows up at Arya's house to drop off her photo competition application. She left it at the brew, and he also wrote her a glowing recommendation. He sees the doll with its knife in its head lying on the floor in Arya's bag. She lies and tells him that she did it for a photography project. He jokes that it's very disturbing. Spencer gets home late at night from Philly, and Dean is sitting outside and freaking out, and he's furious that Spencer didn't show up to the AA meeting because he thought that she'd do that, and he was worried about her, and you can tell that she definitely is not gonna recover from her drug problem. I'm pretty sure she's still gonna have it. The thing is, that's the least of her worries right now, though, so you really can't blame her for what's going on. So, Dean tells her he has to go and says he isn't going to see her anymore because she has a boyfriend. Every time he sees her, he wants to kiss her. And I really don't like this, I have to say. I'm not a fan of this love triangle between Spencer, Dean, and Toby. I don't really like it. I don't like it, honestly. If it was Hannah and Caleb, now that could be interesting, because, Caleb's being very overbearing right now, but Toby really hasn't done anything wrong, so I don't really see... The only thing Toby has done, really, is say, I don't want you to trust Allie. That's really the only thing Toby's done, so I don't really like that they're doing this love triangle. I'm not really a fan of that. So Emily gets home, Sarah's freaking out, scrubbing blood off the floor, and she was in this really bad accident. And Sarah explains that a black car was following her down the street when she was riding her bike, and then it ran her down. She's got blood like all over her arm and like the top of her head. It's pretty nasty stuff, guys. And Emily then shows her a picture of Leslie's car, and Sarah confirms it was the car that was following her. So that definitely should say something right there, that maybe, just maybe Leslie could be A. That just makes me think that she probably is. Again, as I said, I don't think she is. I think she's working for Charles. Because Charles, to me, seems like the kind of person that wouldn't want to be, found out, so he just have people work for him as suspects, and I feel like that's really what's going on here. So, Hannah Spencer and Arya head to an animal lab where Leslie works after hours. They break in to snoop through Leslie's desk. Hannah finds a wand like what is used by airport security, and it beeps when she holds it. It's very strange, and Spencer takes the wand, waves around her head, and beeps it too, and we realize that Leslie put chips in the liars to track them. So, this freaks them out, obviously, because they're chipped, and the worst part is, though, Emily has no idea that this is going on because she's back in Rosewood. She heads back to the coffee shop and tells Nicole she can't go to Thailand. Sarah needs her, and Sarah can't leave the country without her parents' permission because she's under 18 years old. And Nicole thinks that Emily has feelings for Sarah, but Emily insists that isn't the case. And I'm just like, no, don't do this. I'm really, okay. I like Emily's character. I like her and Paige. I like her and Allie. Hell, I even liked her and Maya, like when they used to have her and Maya, I like that. Why does every girl that Emily has to come in contact with end up being a love interest? It's dumb. I'm sick of it, honestly. I'm sick of that happening. That is my one biggest complaint with this episode, is that every single girl that Emily meets with ends up becoming a love interest, and it's really pissing me off. Because it seems like that's the only thing they know how to do with Emily. Oh, give her a love interest. Give her a love interest. Oh, you got rid of Maya, give her Paige. Oh, you got rid of Paige, put in Allie. Well, we already knew Allie was bisexual. Like, we knew this. Yeah, Allie's bisexual, in case you guys didn't know that. Which you should, because season 5, that scene, where I'd still want those two together. If anyone together right now, I'd choose Emily and Allie, definitely. Like, if you wanted to get a couple together, just do Emily and Allie. I knew it wouldn't be possible now, but, I mean, I want Allie with Lorenzo right now, but I'm not a fan of Emily and Sarah becoming a couple. I'm really not. So at the lab, Hannah, Spencer, and Arya are still snooping around looking for proof that Leslie's the one that kidnapped them, and Hannah finds a room full of animals in cages, and she has these flashbacks to when A locked her in the cage, and she starts freeing all the animals because basically this just makes her trigger that, she kind of thinks of these animals as them, and Spencer yells at her to stop, but it's too late, and she's saying, that Leslie's not going to be able to cage anyone, and there's a raccoon that Hannah let loose, and it's growling at them. Hannah has cheese jewels in her purse, and Spencer uses them to try and lure the raccoon back to the cage. And suddenly, someone turns off all the lights in the lab, and it's Mona. And she shines a flashlight on her face, and asks the liars that they've lost their minds. And Mona tries to tell the liars that she's on their side, but they aren't buying it. And I'm not buying it either. There's no way she's on their side. For the end scene from the last episode, there's no way Mona's on their side. Mona explains that Leslie hated Bethany, what she doesn't want revenge for her death, and Mona tells the liars that when Leslie was in Radley, Charles and Bethany both ran away together the night that Allie went missing. That, to me, sounds like the biggest bullshit I've heard. To me, what this sounds like is Charles just wanted them to cover for him so his cover wasn't exposed. That's what it seemed like to me. So they realize, though, that Charles is still alive. Charles is definitely still alive, and he's out there, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. So the liars realize that Charles was just framing Leslie to throw them off his trail, and I kind of feel like Leslie still is working for Charles, though. I mean, again, I don't think Charles would work alone. That just doesn't seem possible. It seems like Charles would probably have someone working for him, so I'm assuming that Charles is just having Leslie work for him. That's really what it seemed like to me. So Emily heads home. Sarah's then sleeping in her bed, and she tries to check Sarah's neck to see if she has a chip in it. Now, I'm like, how the fuck would Emily know? Because she wasn't with any of the liars before. They didn't text her anything. How would she know that Sarah had a chip on her? And Sarah sits up and starts kissing her, and I'm just like, no! I don't want these two together, because honestly, here's the thing. I see sisterly chemistry. I see friend chemistry. I don't see any bit of lover chemistry between these two. I do not see these two as a couple. I see them as friends or like sisterly friends. It seemed like they were trying to get Emily like as the sister she never had, and I thought that was really sweet they did that. But no, Sarah's just Emily's girlfriend, and I'm really pissed off at that. And it's not that I don't like Emily's character. I've said before, I think Emily gets a lot of bad rep, and a lot of people I know don't like Emily as a character, but I personally really do like her character at times. She has really good storylines. I mean, the whole thing with her and Ezra in the kitchen, and that whole storyline was great last season. I love that storyline. That was really great. This, I don't like. I honestly don't like it. I like Sarah's character. I like Emily as a character. I don't want these two together. Please, I just don't do this, okay? I don't want these two in a romantic relationship. I'm tired of Emily just going from girlfriend to girlfriend to girlfriend. Give her something else to do, so help me God. Seriously. Something else to do. I don't care. Make them go to Thailand. Go to fucking Thailand and don't just give her a random love interest for no reason because, there's a girl on the show and we have to do something with her. It just seemed really dumb to me. So we end with Ken sitting in his car, and he's calling a list of names of doctors and trying to find Charles. He thinks that Charles is still alive too, and he heads to the backyard to bury the note he found in his car, and this note is from Charles, and it says, Daddy, I'm coming home for my birthday. You should plan a party to die for, and that's how the episode ends. So yes, Charles is coming back. We're going to find Charles' identity very soon, and I love that, because this is the season of answers. I didn't love this episode. You guys can tell I didn't really love this episode. Some things really didn't make much sense to me. First of all, let me just try to figure out something. Why would Charles frame Lesli supposedly if we know that Mona was on the phone with someone? So obviously Mona's against them because we know that she said, oh, there's a plan, it's all working out. We know that her and Lesli are definitely not working with the liars, and I don't trust them whatsoever. So I can't really buy anything that Mona said. As I said before, you really can't trust anything that Mona says. That's not how this show works. I mean, this is a girl who has yet to give me any reason to trust her. I don't trust Mona whatsoever, and she didn't give me a reason to trust her in this episode. Honestly, she didn't. There have been moments where, yeah, I do trust Mona. This is not one of them. Not one of them at all, and, I don't trust Mona really at all. Honestly, I don't. So yeah, I don't see that happening. I just don't feel like Mona should be trusted. Emily and Sarah, I just don't want these two together. I really don't. I feel like just do something else, okay? It's all rehashing of Paige and Emily. They're just trying to create Paige and Emily on this show, and it's really annoying. It's like, yeah, Paige and Emily, that chapter's over. Why does Emily need to have another girlfriend? She doesn't need a girlfriend every time she meets some random girl, okay? Sarah never seemed like a lesbian to me. I'm gonna be honest. Sarah seemed like the sister that Emily never had. They never seemed like lesbians. And I was proud that they were never gonna do that. There were moments where I'm like, I really hope they don't turn this into a lesbian relationship. It didn't seem like they were. And now it's like, nope, we're gonna go that way. And I really don't like that they're doing that. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like that they're doing that. Maybe you guys enjoy that, but I personally think that's really dumb that they're doing that. I think it's a really dumb storyline, and I really don't like it. I want them to do something different. Just anything else. I don't care what it is. Just do something else. Don't get these two in a romantic relationship. It's kind of pisses me off. As far as Hannah and Caleb go, I forgot to say, Hannah and Caleb end up having sex in this episode, basically, because Hannah just wants Caleb to go away. So I thought that was kind of funny that they just started, having sex, basically. But Hannah needs to have a conversation with Caleb, okay? She needs to tell him that he's driving her insane. You can tell that she wants nothing to do with him, because if she wants something to do with Caleb, she would have asked him to drive him, and to drive them. And he is just being way too overbearing, and he needs to understand that. I don't like the love triangle they're setting up with Spencer and Dean. I really don't. I really don't like that very much, I have to say. We'll have to see what happens with that. I do like the plot of Spencer making this speech, though. I think it's going to be interesting to see if Spencer decides to be valedictorian. I mean, it's really something she can't get out of, but I mean, she could pick someone else. Out of all four of the liars, though, I would say Spencer is the most eligible. You know, she definitely is the most, she thinks a lot. She definitely is the most, just smartest out of all of them. Second would be probably Arya, then Emily, then definitely Hannah. Hannah's the dumbest of them, obviously. Maybe Allie, I don't know. Where the fuck is Allie? I have no idea. Why is Allie not in this episode? I don't know. Kind of pissed me off that Allie wasn't in this episode. Sorry, my friend is calling me. But yeah, Allie wasn't in this episode, and I was kind of pissed off that she. That's basically my review, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Overall, guys, not the best episode. Really not. Good episode overall. I did enjoy it. A lot of the storylines I thought were kind of dumb. I like the twist with Charles being alive, but I just don't feel like Mona's story sounds logical to me. It sounds kind of like bullshit. It really does. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Sense8, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.